You're live.
We are live outside of Club Bongo. You remember Paddy Maloney, Battle of the Bongo story? With Jamie Boyle, Walkway Publishing. He's written multiple books on Lee Duffy and our sites.
Yeah, so the Bongo Club, notoriously hard place.
Should James hold it in? James,
yeah.
do you want to come in?
Really, really tough place. The guy died a couple of years ago. He was an old guy called Abdullah. He died and he was 104 and he was running it till not far off. It's alleged he killed someone in London years ago, come up to Teesside, opened this place, and he used to carry a knife in his pocket alone, specifically for Lee Duffy. This was the only door that ever would keep Duffy out, and
Look at it.
yeah, a lot of the history is around this place regarding Lee Duffy. Your podcast with Paddy Maloney when he talks at the Battle of the Bongo, with the Wood brothers, Peter and Danny.
Same door?
Yeah,
That's the same door?
Peter and Danny Wood. A lot of it happened here. Around the corner you've got the famous Albert Bridge in Middlesbrough, which is one of the favourite put downs in Middlesbrough. I seen your man working under Albert Bridge. It's round the corner, and there's a few haunts around where Rumours was, which was Duffy's favourite nightclub, and a place where he broke a guy's neck. So do you want me to take you around and show you?
Yeah, follow you.
So this was the Bongo, and this is where lots of history, lots of folklore stories are from Middlesbrough. The guys who used to run the Bongo door certainly earned the money, that's for sure. So this place is in Middlesbrough. It's known as Over the Border, and the reason it is over the border is you've got the train tracks just in front, so it's on the other side of the tracks. This area is known as St Hilda's, obviously commonly known to most people as Over the Border. It's been knocked down these last couple of years, but it's Middlesbrough. The councillors are starting to chuck a lot more money at it, so we're going to be going under that famous Albert Bridge, James. If you want to walk under. So that's where the Middlesbrough football ground is, just right over there.
If there's any comments, shout them out.
So this is a very famous Albert Bridge of Middlesbrough.
How's Middlesbrough for you, Jen?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Smoke bomb.
What the hell?
There was a car with
Trolls are
bad
coming, Jen.
engine.
Trolls are coming. We're going to come away with us. Cloudy smoke bomb situation.
Bridge.
Here we are. And back in March the 28th, 1991, this place was known as Wicker's World. So this is where, I mean, this was, if he'd have lived, in my personal opinion, was he was going to get a lot of prison for an assault which took place here. So I talked about it in a documentary called The Hole of the Moon. So March the 28th, just towards kicking out time, Duffy had come in. It's alleged, well, Peter Wilson told me, he said Duffy was chucking beer below, so I had a word with people. Duffy's version of events was the bouncer went up and bullied him. I probably know which one I would believe. Regardless of the outcome, Peter Wilson had his neck punched. A witness told me he was there. He said it was Duffy's hand. Peter Wilson is convinced that it was a can of Red Stripe, but the outcome of it was So Paul Debrick carried Duffy had just knocked Peter Wilson out, got him out in the car, and basically he just thought he had a bit of a headache or something, and they kept him in, and he broke his neck, and he was in hospital for 5 weeks. So this is where it happened here. So that was March the 28th, 1991. Around the corner is it's a club called Rumours. So that's very familiar to the whole Lee Duffy. He was there.
The guy ended up with a can of red stripe in his neck. That broke his neck.
Yes, Duffy and his friends have said it was a punch. I spoke to people as well who said no, it was a can. The outcome, it was very much similar to the Christopher Reeve, the Superman actor. He never walked again. So poor Peter Wilson was in hospital for 5 weeks. And if he'd have lived, I mean, he was due to be in court for that in the October. And I personally know, obviously, for all the things Duffy was on remand, I think it was 4 things. He was looking at big time. Even if the jury believed his version of events, which they're bound to start on him, at the end of the day, you can't go around breaking people's necks. So I'm convinced that he was going to use he was going to lose. I mean, he was 26 then. He was coming out in his 30s. But I'll take you around to where Rumours was.
Okay.
So how long have you been doing these tours for, Jamie?
I haven't done any tours. just I know a lot, but Sean's obsessed with Lee Duffy.
And Paul Sykes.
Paul Sykes. So we're going to do a proper tour with them both for a full day.
Yeah.
And we're going to go and meet Alex Reid shortly. So I thought, you know what? I can take you where it all was. So this building here was, if anyone used to watch the series Minder with Jimmy Nealon, it featured in a club, and this was about 1993. But this club here, it was called Rumours. But before that, it was called Masters Nightclub, and that's how Lee got his first job on the door. Was his mum worked there, and basically said, look, so he started working the doors literally when he was still at school. So this building here was
Been watching our YouTube.
I have, yes. Brilliant.
Oh, please to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Jamie's giving us a Lee Duffy tour.
Yeah, Jamie.
Yeah.
All right, mate. So this building was Rumours nightclub.
It's down.
No, it was here. It's just exactly here.
Was it right
Yeah,
here, was it?
it was here and upstairs.
I remember falling out of it a few times.
Yeah. So this is basically, a lot when you reading the Lee Duffy books, people talk about Rumours, Duffy learning on
Bob Racers, James, you get this.
learning on the doors, 15, 16, 17-year-old, shorts and vests. So a lot of the Lee Duffy history divides around this building. He used to jog here, South Banks, a couple of mile, and he was here like literally Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And obviously the blues parties, which we'll do in the next part. But if anyone, obviously, he was about the Rumours stories with Lee Duffy. This is all where it was, and this is what got his first job on the door, just about here. A lot of the clubs were active, and there was lots of doormen. So this is where the young Duff was like a young lion in tiger, in the grass, and kind of working out on who's hard, who had a reputation. Because if they had a reputation, Lee wanted to go and put it on them. I spoke to one of the people who used to work on the door with him, and when Lee was kind of coming through, it's who's he user, is he hard? And he learned, because if he is, Duffy would have to go. So he just said, oh no, Lee, he's a nobody. But that was his mentality when he was like 16, 17. He thought, you know what, I'm taking over this town and everything in it. And this is where it all happened here, Sean. Rumours nightclub, massive part of Middlesbrough kind of club life. Back end of the 80s and the early 90s. It closed about 93, 94.
Thank you, Jamie. So if you want to follow Jamie, War Cry Publishing on YouTube, and we're going to go and do a podcast with Alex Reid now.
And we're going to do the second part of the Lee Duffy. I'm also going to take Sean to Wakefield. Obviously everyone's aware that there's going to be a Paul Sykes film and documentary, but that's contracted. But for a podcast, I'm allowed, so I'm going to take Sean to where Paul Sykes done the iconic speech about the Sharks and where he lived, where he died. You know, lots of history in Wakefield regarding Paul Sykes. But before we do that, Sean's going to come up in a couple of weeks and I'm going to take him round South Bank where the Blues were, because people just can't get enough of Lee Duffy. And Sean, always getting indicted, aren't you, by people saying more Lee Duffy stuff, more Lee Duffy stuff.
It's endless, the interest in Lee Duffy, you know, the way he was just so young.
Yeah.
And how he established himself. It was like the territory was expanding, wasn't it? Whoever's the hardest man, I'm going to find them. Like he was trying to track down Viv Graham, and he was going all the way to Newcastle, wasn't it?
So did
Yeah.
he rule the whole of Middlesbrough?
Didn't rule it, but he was challenging all the biggest, hardest men.
Do you know what? His name stood for everything. And there was a place in South Bank, I won't name, and they ran a taxi company, and they had a policy was, if Lee Duffy gets in, just take him where you go and don't ask him for any money. Paul Venice was doing the same towards the end of his life, obviously before he woke up and decided not to be a bad guy anymore. And you know, it's Lee Duffy, the story. What would have happened if he'd have got to 27, 28, 29? How many lives would he have went on to affect? Would he have turned his life around? You know, the scary statistic with Duffy is that guy died 5 years before he hit his peak. And that's a frightening statistic. Yeah.
Right, so we're 7 days into our tour. If you're not familiar with what we're doing, we're just every spot we're going, whoever we're meeting, we're doing live streams just to let people know to take them with us. But then we are filming full podcasts that are going to come on the channel later on, professionally filmed by cameraman James, who's holding the camera right now. So thank you for watching this one. Take care. Cheers. Do you want to zap that one, James?